nice because when I go to kind of put this stuff together, I learn a lot. So thanks for letting me learn on y'all. Okay, so we're doing this, we're in this series on leadership. And so today, if you read the invitation, it is on, we're going to talk about leaders are people who develop and have learned how to develop great relationships. So I am going to share my screen with you, and we're going to talk about what it looks like as a leader to really develop and grow our relationships. So I'm reading the book, or have read it many years ago, and it's by John Maxwell, 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader. And I feel like no matter how long we've been in this business or what we've done, there's always room for growth and development. And so as I'm reading the chapter, it was like suddenly my mind kind of started just going in all different directions. And so what I'm about to share with you is not really what was in the book, but what kind of really started coming to my mind. So if I'm thinking about myself and thinking about, I want to be a great leader, and great leaders really focus and develop their relationships. And we are in a relationship business for sure. We are not out there just, trying to sell our product. What our mission is to inspire healthy living around the world. And to be an inspiration to people, really, that comes from really getting to know somebody and developing a relationship with them. And so when I think about as a leader, there are three areas that I think when it comes to relationships, how we go about building and developing those relationships. Number one, a leader understands people. We need to develop and grow ourselves. And as I'm saying this, I'm including me on this, is to really hone in and learn to understand people and what makes them tick and why they do what they do. And picking up on those subtle cues. The more we understand people, the better we're going to attract people, the better we're going to develop people, the better we're going to motivate, inspire, if we understand people well. And what I have is a couple of tools for us to really dig deep in this whole area of understanding people. How do we go about doing that? And so I don't know how many of you guys know or have heard about the DISC profile. It's been around for many, many years. And I kind of forgot about it till I read that leaders understand people. And this is the first thing that came to my mind. So if I am going to really understand people, the DISC profile breaks people up into 4 categories. One is dominance. Those are those strong people. Sometimes maybe you guys may have learned this through the colors. So red would be that dominant. Those are those people, they just cannot not lead. They are strong leaders. They're results oriented. They're high directive, and they're very competitive. Another group of people are what's called your influencers. So they kind of influence more because the dominant's going to lead and influence by their strong leadership. Influencers are those fun-loving people. The person who popped in my mind is Erin Lemmy. I mean, she popped into my mind immediately. Just that influencer and enthusiasm. I think of Brenda. Brenda is always excited, and I love when I hear her. I got to tell you something. Those are those influencers that influence by just that positivity that exudes out of them. They're friendly, they're optimistic. And as I'm reading these names, people are going to pop in your head. How about those compliant people? Who comes to my mind is Amy Baker. They know the facts. They know how everything's working. They can tell you what's on their PVC report. They're accurate. They're very cautious. They think through, you just see their mind just calculating. And then you've got those steady people. They're just very sincere. They're patient. They're kind. Who's coming to mind? So when you think of these 4 different types of people, as I'm reading those, or as you're reading those, people are going to be popping into your mind. So if I'm going to be a great leader and understand people, the better I know how to read people and pick up. So I love this saying that Scott, I got all these sayings that Scott says, but he's like, one of the things he says is, you don't want to be doing the tango and the person you're dancing with is doing the waltz. That doesn't work. And it's kind of like, if I'm talking to somebody who's a strong driver, man, they want to make things happen, get things done. And I'm just kind of being real kind of soft and gentle and patient. They're not going to respond to me. I'm going to bore them out of their wits. So what I want to do is think about the person I'm going to be engaging with and be a chameleon. Not that we change who we are, but we understand people, whether it's a prospective customer, a prospective partner, a partner who's on our team already. I want to think about who they are and I want to appeal to them. So if I'm talking to someone who's dominant, they're very results oriented. Let's say I'm talking to a potential customer. If I'm knowing they're a dominant personality, I'm probably going to hit the research. Here's what this research says. This is what this says. Very directive. Here's what you do. If you've got some health issues, man, I would double my Juice Plus. Be very confident in how I'm talking to someone who's that dominance personality. If I'm talking to an influencer and I want to bring them onto the team, what I want to do is let them know how much fun we have. This wonderful community of people. I'm not changing my personality. I'm just addressing them in a manner that I think is going to appeal to them. I don't want, if I'm dealing with the C who's likes the facts, I'm not going to be all crazy and all over the place. And, I want to get kind of hone in on what they would want to hear. And so when I think about a leader understands people, this was a great reminder to me. Do I really take 30 seconds before I make that phone call and think about, if I look at my plan for the week, let me get over here to my plan. Oh, here's my plan. So I'm looking at my customers. I'm thinking about, I'm thinking about Jim Ruane. He's a customer of mine. His Juice Plus is about to ship out. What if I take 5 seconds and think about what's Jim's personality? And how do I want to respond to him and reach out to him? Does that make sense? So I'm challenging myself because this really was an aha moment to me, to take 5 to 10 seconds to think about who am I going to talk to and where do they fall on the DISC profile and how do I want to reach out to them? So number 1. Number 2, a leader loves people. So the person who, and I didn't intend to say this, these things are popping in my head based on what I'm saying. And so that's a true, example. And when I think about a leader who loves people, it's going to make me cry, but it makes me think of my dad. And my dad was a pastor. And when I think of my dad loved people. You couldn't be near my dad that he wasn't patting you on the back, pulling your ear, grabbing you, shaking you. He was shaking your hand, grabbing you by the shoulders, giving you a hug. My dad loved people. And if you've ever had the privilege to meet my dad, I know Brenda has, you knew you were loved. Even if he didn't know you, you felt his love. And I think about, I don't know how many of you guys know this love language by, is it Gary Smalling? He's the one, I think, who developed it. So he talks about we all show love in 5 different ways, or we love to receive love in a particular way. Mine is acts of service. When my husband plans out. We're getting ready to go on vacation in June. He was in there planning out all the menus. We're going to go on a catamaran, and he's going to do all the cooking and all the planning of the cooking. That just screams love to me, that acts of service, or quality time. You know, my daughter, one of my daughters especially, it is quality time. And when you don't give it to her, she lets you know it. She is not feeling loved. Some people, it's receiving gifts. My mother-in-law is a huge gift giver. Typically, if someone is showing you love in a particular way, that's who they are and what the way they love to be loved. But what we want to do is take on that leadership role, not that we show love how we like to be loved, but that we really hone in on the person we're talking about and find out how they really feel loved. Because if I'm doing acts of service all day long for my husband, that's not his love language. His love language is words of affirmation. And although I know he would appreciate it, he's not going to feel the love unless I really begin sharing those words of affirmation. So what if, as a leader, I really start honing in on my team and saying, what do I really know what so-and-so's love language is? And am I really communicating that love to them in the way they want to feel love? And as a leader, man, if you can take that leadership to that kind of a personal relationship, that's huge. That is huge. So I want you to think about, you know, my dad was a big physical touch person. He was always loving. He was 6'6". He was just like giving you a bear hug and pulling your ear and, you know, giving you a fist bump or whatever. Who do you know that's physical touch? I think about my friend Tisha. When you're around her, she will, when she's talking to you, she'll always reach out and grab you, like right here on your arm. You know, you just feel that love from her. Quality time. Who will spend endless amounts of time with you? Who loves to give you little gifts? Words of affirmation. How can we take this and show love to our customers? What about a handwritten note? What about just spending some time on the phone with them or taking them to lunch? Or words of affirmation. Thank you for being my customer. Do you realize today you've been my customer for 10 years? Thank you for all the customers you've referred to me. I've got a gift card in the mail to you. Or let me research that for you. You've got a family member's dealing with some health issues. Let me see if Dr. Du Bois could talk to him. How can I show the love to my customers, my prospects, my teammates, my prospective teammates? How can I really show them love that they want to engage into this community? All right. Then the third thing the book talked about was a leader helps people. Brenda Proctor, you are one of the most helpful people I know. Every time I'm looking for something, I'm like, Brenda, do you have X, Y, Z? And she's like, yes, I do. And, you know, she's digging. She is like the historian. She always has it. You know, who are you thinking about who is very helpful? Always there to help, wants to help, always just steps up. You know, I don't think I'm a real helpful person. I think I'm always about a particular, you know, I've got an agenda of what I want to get done. And when it comes to being a leader and stepping back and helping people when they need it, I'm telling you, that's another way to really develop those relationships. And I've got to remind myself of that as well. And I literally went on the internet and I'm just like, how do people feel help? How do they feel, you know, that help from you? And here I came up with 7. There were a lot more, but these were the 7 I picked from this article. So helpful people share their knowledge. You guys, we have been gifted with an enormous amount of knowledge being part of this Juice Plus community, enormous. Are we really sharing that with people? And when we take the time to share tidbits of knowledge to our customers, to our partners, to potential partners, potential customers, prospects. You know what? Even if they're not our customers, but if they know, people know you are a health resource, that one sets you up just as a leader. It shows, it just shows that you are a relationship oriented person. We share our resources. We've got more resources than we can say grace over. So every time we're connecting with our customers, are we giving them, oh my goodness, I just thought of you, thought you'd want to hear about, read this article, listen to this video. What about making people aware of an opportunity? We have an unbelievable opportunity at our fingertips with this Juice Plus community, with our Juice Plus business, with our Juice Plus products, with our Juice Plus connections. We need to make people aware of the opportunity that we have. Who right now of your customers do you need to reach out to and make them aware of the opportunity of this business? Even if they don't want to jump in full force, dive into the pool, maybe they just want to put their toes in, and maybe they just want to share it with a few friends and family. But we haven't even given them the opportunity to do that. What about giving feedback to our customers, to our team? Are you connecting with your partners on a weekly basis and giving them feedback? How'd your week go? Did you make a plan? How'd you execute that plan? Can I help you looking through? Is there a way that we need to make adjustments before next week's plan is developed? Did you run into any snags? Here's an area I'm going to challenge you to think about. As leaders, and as we develop relationships with our team, we want to have a relationship that we can give the feedback back and forth. I want to hear feedback from you guys, and I want to give feedback when I see areas of opportunity of growth. So are we confident in ourselves to give feedback and to accept feedback? That's a way we can be helpful, and people can help us and deepen that relationship. When people know you're open to hearing feedback and you're also open to giving feedback, you're not afraid of it. How about advocating for people? What would that look like to advocate for a team member, a customer? You know, what about a team member who may be dealing with something with the company and they need help navigating and they need you to advocate for them? Instead of just saying, yeah, go online or just call in. What if you helped them do that? Maybe they're brand new and they need help in that process. Then the next one, give them your time. What a way to show being helpful. I already talked about that earlier, but you know, when people are willing to give you time, man, that really builds a relationship. And then lastly, recognizing. You guys, we got Team Extreme, and some of you have your own team pages also. I'm going to ask you, even if you have your own team pages, man, if you got somebody who's hit a level, man, let's recognize them. Let's celebrate them. Let's give them money. Let's talk about what they've done, how they've done it. Who on here? I remember Truett Cathy, who is well, he's passed on now, but he created Chick-fil-A. He said, do you want to know who needs encouraged and recognized? You want to how you know if someone needs encouraged and recognized? And then you say, why? How do you know that? You put a mirror up to their face, and if it fogs up, they need recognition. We all need recognition. We all do. So who can you recognize? Who of your customers can you recognize? Man, thank you for being a customer for 10 years. Can I send you a bag of Complete? Can I send you this? Can I just acknowledge it and recognize them then with a simple card? You know, even someone who's not, but maybe somebody who's pointed you in the right direction. Who can you recognize? as you develop, sometimes when it comes to our prospects, we can connect and recognize with them that it doesn't even have to do with anything to do with Juice Plus, but deepening that relationship is most definitely going to move them forward on their journey to Juice Plus. And so sometimes some of those connections we're making, we may not even need to say anything about Juice Plus, but simply connect on a deeper level and build that relationship. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys a question, and then I'm going to turn it over to Brenda. But I want to hear from some of you. Which of these 3 areas do you feel you need to develop the most? So if I look at those 3 areas, personally, I think the thing that's drawing me is to understand, really hone in more on understanding people and connecting with them in a way that I understand them. But probably, if the truth be known, I probably need to focus on number 3 even more. But think about it, and then we're going to kind of ask some of you to share your thoughts in those 3 areas, and which area. Here's the area I feel like I'm doing the best in. Here's the area I think I have the most growth opportunity. All right, Brenda, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you interview a couple people.
Okay, well, I think this is incredibly powerful information. And I love what you shared, Elaine. One of my pastors talked about the DISC profile, that it makes us people literate. And as a reading teacher, that was a great illustration. And I know for me, the love language just spoke so much. This is such great information. But so the whole reason for this topic today is that we really want to help you guys, build the leadership skills of speaking and sharing, with your customers and with your team members. And so Elaine and I were talking this morning, and we really wanted to talk about today, and we're going to be hopefully being able to talk to each one of you over the next couple of weeks, but sharing two people that we asked to share who are rising leaders about how they connect with their customers and with their team members in a way that makes them feel loved and understood and valued. And so we're going to start with Riley Mitchell, and I'm so excited to do that. And then afterwards, Karen Farrell is going to share with us how she is doing this connection, making this connection. So yay, Riley, we can't wait to hear from you.
Hi. Okay, so I was asked to tell a little bit about John Maxwell's quote that I shared a little while ago, but it's a great one and I bring it up all the time. So I'm going to bring it up again, which is friends versus fans. And John Maxwell says, he tells his leaders this, and this is something that he goes by in his life, which is, I want friends, not fans, because friends you impact close up and fans you impress from far away. And in order to have a friend, you have to walk with them through life. So that just, it screams relationships. And that is something that I've heard over and over by the leaders around me and the leaders in, just the successful leaders around the world. It's all about relationships. And what I was thinking about this morning when I was thinking about that quote again and relationships in general is that, and again, when we were talking on the call about all these ways to further relationships, is that a relationship is selfless and it is less about us and more about them. And really just truly from the bottom of our hearts and in our actions and what we truly believe, it's about caring for them, others, and just subtracting the I from the equation and really focusing on others and what they need. And that really just goes hand in hand with everything that Elena said today about just how we can love others better and how we can support them and understand them and help them better, which is also just what this business is about, which is helping others. And what I really believe that we're on this earth for is to love others and love them well. And it's something I really love about this business, that we are really drawn to relationships and helping others rather than just being the star of the show, really. And having a bunch of fans. It's really about others, and yeah, in order to do that, we have to walk with them and love them well and take everything we've learned today and just use it to, again, love them well and love them the best that we can. So yeah, it's a little bit about relationships.
You do that well, Shirley. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Karen.
Can you hear me? Is it connected? Okay. I guess I misunderstood the question earlier because I thought you wanted specifics on what it is that I do for building relationships. Is that it? Okay, good. Well, first of all, I think relationships I equate to caring, and I care. I care about my team. I care about my customers. I care about my prospects. And it, again, like Elaine said, it's not about being a vulture and business, business, business. It's about building that relationship. With my team, specifically, I call or text weekly just to let them know I'm there for them. If they need anything, do you want to do a three-way call? Can I send you some recordings? And I do send them recordings. I invite them to all the posted events on Team Extreme. I invite them to this call because it's a wealth of information every week. I learn and grow every week. I think, well, I can't possibly learn anything this week, but I do every single time. And I share the recordings, and it just, those recordings are so important because the more that they hear, the more confident they become and in sharing Juice Plus. So it's just kind of a win-win in helping them out. And I also like to recognize when my team, Shalia is on here right now too, when they make positions, within the 10 days, she made Express Track to Partner Plus, and then she got a partner, and then her partner made Partner Plus in one day. I mean, that's exciting. I mean, that is awesome. It just makes me so happy. Now, customers, as far as caring for them, I think I've told you a million times before what I do, but before they're a customer, I drip on them. And I always bring Juice Plus into a conversation. It's so easy to do. I think it's because I live and breathe this business because it's done so much for me. You can't have it impact you so powerfully and not bring it into every conversation you have with people. Anyway, and the way I care for them is I bring Juice Plus into the conversation, and then I ask questions because I can assess their needs by asking the questions, and the more questions I ask, I know how to address them. And I could give you examples of that too, but when they are a customer, I show that I care by checking in all the time. I pretty much learned a lot about them before they become a customer. So it's more just follow up in business. When I follow up with them, but I check in to see if their order arrived. I check to see how they're doing after a week, after 2 weeks, after a month, 2 months, 3 months. And then I let them know when their next order is going to ship and if I can expedite it or if they want me to delay, whatever they want me to do, I'm there to help them because I care. And again, I send them recordings. I invite them to events. This Dr. Du Bois event last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess it was amazing. And he never disappoints. And then I follow up with them. Inevitably, when I do my follow-ups, they share something that's pertinent about, oh, we're going to be out of town because we're going to go see our son. Well, I'll follow up with her and say, how was your visit with your son? Just let them know that you care. And I do, because these people aren't just my customers, they are my friends. Brenda asked me to share this one story about a lead that I got last week. And a week and a half ago. And his name is Aaron, and he was a Shakes lead. And so I called him and introduced myself right away and told him that I was his partner in health. And, anything I can do to help you, just let me know if you have any questions for me. And I said, by the way, did you hear about our capsules? I noticed you were just ordering the shakes. And he said, yeah, I ordered those on eBay. I went, oh, I said, well, I just want to caution you about, expiration dates and buying resold products, just to be careful. But I did tell him, but in 4 months when that shipment runs out, if you like to pass the same product onto someone you love, I can tell you about our Family Healthy Starts program. And he was intrigued by that. And he said, okay, yeah, I will. And then I also asked him if he'd heard about our omegas. And he said, no. And I said, well, are you open to getting some information on it? And he said, sure. So I sent him a couple of recordings. Well, the next day he called me and said that his eBay order had gotten canceled for whatever reason and wanted to know if he could get the trio from me. So I'm like, sure. So I signed him up for the trio, the Healthy Starts program. And I said, did you get a chance to review the information on the omegas? Do you have any questions on it? And he did. I said, so do you want to add those as well to the order while I'm doing it? And he said, sure, let's do it. So a lead from shakes turned into a quad plus shakes. And it's all because I cared. And it wasn't just about the order, because, obviously I wasn't getting his trio order because he had ordered it on eBay, but I didn't know that I was going to end up getting his order. But again, building that relationship, and I've followed up with him multiple times, and he's asked great questions. He was on the Dr. Du Bois call to boot. I mean, this guy's like the dream customer. I mean, those don't fall out of the sky very often, but when they do, it's wonderful. And that's happened to me twice in the last 2 weeks, where I was able to upgrade their order just by caring and talking with them about what their needs are. So that's my take on relationships.
I love the way you did that. It was by asking questions, but I didn't in any way feel like there was any pressure associated with that. Does everyone agree with me? It was just a natural conversation that you led him into that, path. You addressed the eBay issue, which Juice Plus probably picked up on it and stopped that sale, because that's not supposed to happen. But you didn't pounce on him about it. You just, as Scott always says, you turned on the light versus turned up the heat.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
I love that saying.
Hey, Erin.
Yeah, I just wanted to say too, Karen, I love your verbiage is so amazing.
Mhm.
But I wanted to encourage you guys too that if anybody does like get purchases off of eBay or are like asking you about the new, that new product that looks a whole lot like Juice Plus that's getting smothered all over, cost wise, with the Family Healthy Starts program, our product is a better value. I mean, we know it's a better value and it's better made anyway, but ours is cheaper than that product. So we don't have a competition. It's so that Family Healthy Starts program is just unbelievable. It blows everybody out of the water, including us, So
That's a really, really good point, Erin. And I love using the word value versus cheaper. And you use both, and it makes sense. It is cheaper, but I love using the word value because we are bringing value in the fact that we are actually giving those children free product. So we're not discounting our product. And I always love that. My husband, for those of you who don't know, works for Chick-fil-A. You will never see Chick-fil-A discounting their product ever. You will see them giving it away, like we do with our children's health study program. They are gifting them with knowledge, and we're tracking them to get the research to prove what's going on there. It's a gift. That giving builds relationship. Discounting a product does nothing. It just draws in people who are looking for something cheap, versus when you give value. And that's what I love saying is that, name another company that cares that much about the next generation, and that next generation is learning about health and nutrition. So I think that gives us a great opportunity, and I'm glad you brought that up, Erin, to really build that relationship with, you're dealing with a company with a heart, the company who loves people and really cares about their health. And that's very well evident. Good point. Any other points before we wrap it up?
I always tell people too, in regards to that company, well, they spend their money on advertising. Our company spends that money on research.
Yeah.
We have the research. Can you hear me?
It's hard to hear you.
I'm all the way up. Sorry. But I just said that they spend their money on advertising. Juice Plus spends their money on research.
Again, added value. And there's just nothing else out there that has any research. All right, back to anybody want to share what area you feel like, hey, I'm doing great in regard to those 3 areas: understanding people, loving people, helping people. And what's an area that, okay, I need to work on this area. All right. Nobody going to share? No one's jumping in. I bet you're smiling. You just got picked on.
It was funny because I was looking at Sandy. She was looking the way I was looking. Like, don't pick me. I will say my strong area is helping others. Precious teaches us not to give information away, but as soon as our team asks for something, I'll be the first one to respond. So that would be my strong. My weak will be finding their love language. I can't have the same language with everyone. So I'm going to work on that.
Good. Thank you. I'll post those 3 pictures on the Facebook group. So if you guys want to snag them and keep them in front of you. Anyone else? One more person. Shelly, are you? Well, I know Shelly's at work. Who was that? Vanessa, can you talk? Or are you somewhere you can't talk either? Okay, can't talk. Okay. One more person. Anybody else before we? Sandy Dial, you available?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Give us your thoughts.
Well, I feel like my strength is caring about people too, and loving on them and helping them as much as I can. And probably my weakness is just to go in and talking to somebody for the first time, and always worrying about exactly what I'm going to say, if I'm going to get it wrong, or if I'm not going to. I want my first impression to be good, and I'm always worried about that I'm just going to mess something up and say something. Say something that doesn't make any sense, or stumble over my words.
You know what? And here, first of all, you are one of those loving people, and I love you to death. So yes, that is definitely a strength that you have. People feel loved the minute they're around you. But I want to address what you're saying about feeling like, kind of about messing up, and that may hold you back a bit.
Yes.
I think going back to that first point, understanding people, I think if our mind, and I totally get, and I appreciate you being so vulnerable and sharing that, Sandy, I really do. But I think when you're saying that, the thought that went to my mind is, if we focus on that first point of trying to understand others, we forget about ourselves. Because we all are going to, if we allow ourselves, we're all going to be thinking, oh my gosh, why did I say that? I should have said this. We're going to critique ourselves so much harder. But if our focus is on, how can I better understand them? And in those 4 quadrants, where do I think they would land based on how well I know them? If we're focused on understanding them, it's going to take the pressure off of ourselves. And I think it's going to give us confidence to say and speak versus coming across worried about what we're saying. If we're focusing on them and honing in on them, we're going to say the right thing, and it's going to come across confident because we've thought through that ahead of time. Whereas if we're thinking more about what we're saying, then we're always going to be uncertain because we don't know what the conversation is going to go like. But if I'm focused on them, I'm going to lead that conversation, and I'll be the one asking the questions. And so thank you, Sandy, for bringing up what I know we all deal with. But I think going back to this relationship thing, and I think something it was that Riley was talking about, really focusing on them. I think that's going to help us all with our approach. and really develop and build those relations. Everybody likes to talk about themselves. And so I think when we let them and encourage them, it's always going to be a good thing. So, all right, well, guys, there's Erin's beautiful face. Okay, guys, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. If anyone else needs to say anything before we wrap it up, love to hear it. But thanks, you guys, for being on this call and just growing together. And I'm excited about the leaders that we're going to become. And just know, Brenda's going to be reaching out to y'all. Each week, we're going to highlight each one of y'all, and we want to hear from y'all. Precious, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yes, I just wanted to add to what Yvette said, because it could kind of come off a little negative, because she said Precious teaches us not to give stuff away. And so I want to explain that. So from our Ergawuri training, we were taught to not just give free things away. And what it means is like, say, for example, a partner emails you and say, what's the password for the call tonight, right? And then your response could be, give them before you give them the password, ask them, how did you do on your goals this week? Mm-hmm. So you're getting something, you're not just giving something away, you're getting something in return. So not even if it's education, ask them something about themselves first. How many prospects did you reach out to this week? Not just giving it, making it a learning experience, making sure that they remembered the goals that you guys set on Monday, and it's Wednesday. Let's see how good you've done this far.
Love it. I don't remember reading that book. So that was a good little nugget. So thank you, Precious. I knew there was more behind all that. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for being on the call today. We look forward to next week and just growing together. So we've worked on focus. How did everybody do last week on focus? Give me a 1 to 5, 1 being not so good on my focus, 5 being great on my focus. 4, 5, 4, 3, 5. Okay, 3. All right, let's keep. So now we're going to build on each week. Focus. Did you do a plan last week? That's going to help you focus quicker than anything. It's creating a plan every Monday or on the weekend. This week, let's focus on those 3 areas. Leaders really seek to understand people, love people, and help people. So that's our focus this week is relationships. How and who am I going to develop and build relationships with this week? So, all right, you guys have an incredible week. Thanks for being on the call. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.